Working out?
2 days ago, he had a home run.
It's very faint.
I read his name.
It's there, but it's very
I didn't even
low.
know what he looked like. It's kind of like a schwarber, like big, huge dude.
Is it better?
Raking.
Steve, you want to do a test? 1, 2, 3?
Test 1, 2, 3. How's that?
Any audio yet?
Perfect.
You guys get it?
I have not.
Getting it, it's real low.
Can we ask questions?
We all are.
Can we start, Raymond?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
Carolyn, you start.
Tell us what you think D.West potentially could have been. I'm sure you heard his comment about how wild things that would blow our minds.
I don't know if anything would really blow your mind, but it was a difficult season, and there were lots of moments where it became more difficult, but I didn't think it was anything unusual given the state of our team and what we've been through and the length of this journey. But nothing to me was that like shocking. But we went through some stuff.
For you and the staff, was this the most arduous of the 4?
Oh yeah, for sure this was the toughest of the 4, mainly because of the cumulative effect of doing this 4 years in a row, getting to the finals 4 years in a row. It's just difficult. It felt to me like the whole year we were just trying to get to the playoffs, and that's not a very healthy way to do it, but we didn't have much choice. It's just human nature, and a lot of injuries, a lot of wear and tear.
So given that it was your most difficult time, would you also say it's your personal best in terms of coaching since you made it to?
No, I wouldn't say that. Every year is different, and every year is unique to itself, and so it was just a different season. But every one is very satisfying in its own right, and it was very gratifying, but it took a long time to get here.
So would you describe it as butting of heads that at times that maybe comes with what you guys were trying to do? I mean, to repeat, to get to a 4th straight finals. I mean, with what was going on with the group?
I think more is being made of this than anything that actually happened. I mean, I think David is right. This was very difficult, and there were definitely some things that happened that never made it out to the press. But again, it wasn't that earth-shattering to me. This is just kind of normal for a team to go through some stuff during the season.
I know your goal next season is going to be to try to make it so it's not as boring or whatever. But is that even possible with knowing you're going to bring 4 guys back? And is that task even possible?
Well, we have to do everything we can to make it as smooth as possible. So it's not possible to have everybody as eager as they were in 2014-15, but it's possible to make some changes to help us shift our focus a little bit. And I think getting younger is an important factor for us. We'd love to get Loon and Patrick back. We'll see what happens with them, but I think it's good that we're going to be relying on a lot of young guys like Damian Jones and Jordan Bell and Quinn Cook, and so that's part of it, and part of it will be just how we treat it as a staff. And I'm a big believer in the game within the game. We're going to have a lot of games within the games next year.
Hey Steve, along those lines, what did you see from the bench this season, and in what ways, beyond you mentioned the youth part, do you think that can get better?
I thought the bench was great this year. We had a lot of specialized players. We took some grief for having 5 or 6 centers, but every one of them played an important role for us this year, including in the playoffs. The league has changed so much, and you have to be ready for different challenges. And so I thought at various times, D.West was our 5th best player for much of the season. Zaza started 50-plus games and helped us win a lot, and took on a major leadership role for us after he was out of the rotation. You look at JaVale, started the first round and the finals, and not much in between, but the matchups dictated that. Jordan and Looney really came into their own the last 2 series. So, the bench was good. I thought Nick Young played well in the playoffs, played really well defensively. He hit probably the biggest shot in Game 7 against Houston on the road. I thought his 3 turned the tide in that game. And in the end, when you're talking about a bench that is trying to help a team win a title, that's what it's about. It's not about putting up great numbers. It's about helping you win games and series. And every one of those guys contributed. I didn't even mention Quinn, the job he did when Steph was out. Part of your bench's obligation is to help you get through injuries and get through the long stretches of the season where you're kind of fried. And so I think our bench will probably get a little more credit when people really take a look back at what we needed and what they provided this year.
Steve, you talked about this. You talked a little bit about David. Are you going to this offseason with the mindset that he'll be back, or?
We've had exit meetings today, not with everybody, but with a lot of our guys. And I think everyone is in a different situation based on their own career, their own life. So David's going to take some time to decide whether he wants to continue playing or whether he's going to retire. And, we have to see how our roster shapes up during free agency with Patrick and Ernie and maybe some other potential free agents out there, including David, including Zaza, JaVale. I think the safe thing to say is that we're not going to have the same look next year in terms of having sort of 5 or 6 vets. I just mentioned we're going to be younger. We're going to have more youth, more energy to try to help us through the regular season. But it's impossible to predict exactly what the roster will look like right now.
Steve, you mentioned Steph's injury. How much did he obviously played far fewer games this year than in previous seasons? How much did his sort of personality or temperament get him through that and get the team through the difficult regular season?
Yeah, I mean, I think playing without Steph is a huge challenge, but it made our team better. Having to get through, having to learn how to get through without him in a couple of key stretches of the season. But knowing he was going to come back also helped us through. Losing him for the season, I think, would be a blow that would be too difficult to overcome, given what he means to us, not only on the court but off. But knowing he was coming back, our guys held down the fort, and then I thought Steph was amazing when he returned in the playoffs.
Steve,
You talked
about on the broadcast. You told Damian Jones after the game, next year is your year, or something to that effect. Was that specifically for him, or was that more for loyalty, just the younger guys that you mentioned?
Both, really. I mean, Damian has spent the last 2 years preparing for next year. That's the way I look at it. We knew he was going to be in Santa Cruz most of this year. He needed to play. We're not going to have a roster full of veteran players. As I said, we're going to have a lot of young guys. So I anticipate that we will start training camp with some great competition in camp. And Damian will be right in the mix and all that. And that's what I was referring to. Next year is a huge opportunity for him.
How has the celebration been the past couple of days? And how different has it felt from the previous 2 celebrations?
Muted. Muted. For me, anyway. I tried to go to a party on Friday night that a lot of the guys were at. My family went to, and I was a complete wet blanket for about 2 hours and Ubered home and went to sleep. I'm tired.
You didn't get lit?
I didn't get lit, but Nick got lit for me and for him. He covered both of us.
Steve, talking about it for you as a coach to see when Steph was out, when all the 4 All-Stars were out, and guys like Quinn Cook. I mean, the way these young kids prepare to take on those big roles. So.
Well, as I said, every season is so different and unique, and it's always fun to see how players respond to opportunity and adversity. I thought Quinn Cook was one of my favorite stories all season. What he did when Steph was out. Not only stepping in and starting, the guy was putting up numbers, and playing with so much confidence, and it's fun to think about. You think about how proud his family is of him, and how happy he is to be really putting himself in a place to have a long NBA career. Those are the stories you really look for during the season and feel good about when the season's over.
Coach, I was very emotional after the sweep in the locker room.
Who was?
Pat.
Patrick.
Have you had a chance to talk to him and just sort of how he's processed all of this and just sort of what that trophy meant to him?
Yeah, we talked today. Patrick and Bob and I met upstairs and talked a lot about his injury and his season, and mainly about just how happy we all are that he's healthy. That was the scary thing at the time. Obviously, we didn't know if he'd ever play basketball again. So the fact that he made it through that time, that difficult time, came back and played in the playoffs in the last 2 series, it was really gratifying for him and for us, and we're excited for him, hopefully, to be here next year, although he could go elsewhere. He's put himself in a good position, and he's a free agent, but we'd love to get him back. I hope I don't get fined for that. Am I still fined? I don't know. I'm not sure of these rules.
Steve, when you talk about celebrations tomorrow, it's a big day, it's the parade. Are you ready for it? And there are some fans out there who are a little disappointed that there's not going to be a celebration at the end of the parade.
The rally at the end. Yeah, I'm thrilled for the parade. It's one of the best days of the year. I speak of it like it's like an annual event. We're trying to make it that. It's not quite that easy, but 3 in the last 4 years. I have such great memories of the first 2. Something about Oakland that is really special. I mean, obviously we're the Bay Area's team, but you go through the streets of Oakland and you see everybody's faces and the joy and the diversity and the passion and the whole community coming together. It's pretty cool. So I'm really excited. And as far as the rally, I screwed up last year and didn't mention Steph Curry's name, so I'm kind of happy there's no rally. I can't make any mistakes this year.
You mentioned the desire to go young. Is there also a need, a must to flip bigs into wings to maybe only have?
Well, I mean, more than likely we will have a better ratio. The thing that I think I mentioned to you when we talked about this during the playoffs is the main thing is you got to have guys who can have a role. And in the end, we pretty much needed all of our centers this year. Zaza was our starter for 55 games or so, and didn't play much in the playoffs, but was a huge leader for us. And every other guy, there was a matchup that we needed a center for. So it's gotten difficult in this league to determine exactly what you need. We could have had 3 fewer centers and 3 more wings, and maybe none of the wings would have been able to guard James Harden or Chris Paul on a switch, and I wouldn't have played them. So fact is, all those big guys came through for us when we needed. The injuries to Patrick and Andre hurt us, but we were able to withstand that, and in the end, it all worked out.
Steve, how soon do you think you and Joe are ready to talk numbers?
Say that again?
How soon do you think you and Joe are ready to talk numbers?
We'll get that done pretty quick. I don't think there'll be much to it, and it should happen pretty relatively quickly.
Coach LeBron is available.
Not allowed to talk about that. That's for sure.
Steve, you're one of a half dozen coaches to win 3 or more NBA championships. Does it blow your mind a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's I never could have envisioned this. I know when I took this job, I thought we could be really good. I could never have dreamt of 3 titles in 4 years. So it's pretty incredible to be a part of the group and the organization.
Is it the greatest basketball dynasty?
Yeah. Bob and I talk all the time. So he's one of my good friends and an important mentor for me, and so we always stay in touch.
Steve, is it the greatest basketball dynasty of all time? And how would it match up against the teams you played on?
It'd be hard to beat the Celtics of the 60s. I don't know exactly how many they won. I think it was like 10 out of 11 or something. So that's probably never going to happen again.
What about the teams you played on in the 90s?
It's a similar feeling. I don't get into the ranking, all that stuff. It's just whoever you like, whatever floats your boat. So, but having been there and been here, it's a similar feeling of winning pretty consistently at a high level. Those Bulls teams won 6 in 8 years. I was only part of the last 3, but winning 3 out of 4 is not easy, and 6 out of 8 for Michael and Scotty and the core of that team was just incredible. But we're still young enough where we can still compete, and we're going to keep going for it. And at the end, you guys can all rank where we end.
Do you think about how things would evolve if they didn't turn out this way, and just sort of what's the gratification like, or just sort of the release now that you got to head into a break into the summer?
You mean if things hadn't worked out this way, like if they lost in the playoffs? Or,
Yeah.
No, I don't really think about that. I mean, everything's just going to happen based on some good fortune and a lot of effort, and you put yourself in a position to win. And one thing I always talk about is we want to give ourselves a swing at the plate every single year, as long as we have this group that's capable of contending. And we've done that. It doesn't mean we hit a home run every time, but 3 out of 4 times we've been able to finish it off. All 4 times we've given ourselves a chance, and that's the main thing. But we all feel very fortunate to be here and to have won another title.
Steve,
How
obviously
long
the
do you
biggest
get to-
difference in these last 2 teams was the first title in Kevin's presence.
Yeah.
Beyond the obvious scoring and what he adds on the court, how is sort of the vibe? How is the team different within these last 2 years?
I think there's a deeper level of confidence. That's the main thing. You know, the first couple of years without Kevin, we were a more vulnerable team. You all remember Game 7 against Cleveland. We couldn't score the last 4 minutes in 2016. That's no longer a problem. We can go through a tough game for everybody else, like in Game 3 this year, where Steph and Clay are missing. And that kind of night 3 years ago would have killed us. With this team, Kevin just says, all right, I got this, and it goes against 43 points. And so it's an incredible array of talent. And it's an incredible luxury to be able to count on so many guys, because in the playoffs, you don't know what's going to come, and there are going to be difficult nights. But Kevin has given us a level of confidence and depth of superstar talent that we didn't have before.
Can you share what some of your plans are now, how long you relax before you have to get back?
Well, you know, fortunately, I don't have a major commitment. I'll be at Summer League in Las Vegas, but I'm not going to do anything. Willie Green will coach the team, and I'll just observe. And I'll come in for the draft and come in for a draft workout tomorrow. But for me, it's there's no work at all. I'm just watching and enjoying my time and enjoying my family. And there's really not a major commitment like there is for Bob and the management side. Free agency and the draft, so I'm going to be relaxing quite a bit the next few months. I'm looking forward to it.
How important is that pick, do you think?
I think it's a big deal, and having talked to our scouts, not just Bob, but Reggie and Lamont and Larry Harris, I mean, we like the pick. They like the pick, I should say. I don't know enough about the draft, but I trust them. They've been amazing these last few years. In picking guys who have contributed, late in the first or even mid-second. So they think that we're going to get an impact player, and I have a feeling I'm going to play that guy and give him a chance next year, given the state of our team. So it's exciting.
Steve, as successful as these guys have obviously been these past 4 years, because of the core you have of all-stars and the age they're in, do you have any sense of feeling like you guys are just getting this thing started?
It's hard to say that because, it started 4 years ago, and 4 years is an eternity in the NBA. But what's exciting is there is the realization and thought that we're young enough where we can keep competing for the next few years, and we hope to do so. But we're also aware of how difficult this is, and there's also a chance that we never even get this far again. But we have a chance, and our guys are young enough and experienced enough now where we feel like we're going to compete the next few years, and hopefully, keep doing what we're doing.
How committed is the organization to going over the cap to try to maintain the excellence of the team?
Well, all you have to do is look at our track record. Joe and Peter have committed every resource to hanging those banners up there, and that's what it takes. To me, everything in sports starts at the ownership level, and we're lucky. We have the best owners in sports, and they're committed to winning, and they're one of the big reasons that we're sitting here celebrating all this success from the last few years.
You talk about the youth of the core. From your experience as a player and watching Michael, Scotty, what is an NBA player's prime? What is a realistic outer limit?
Well, it depends. I mean, you know, you could look at LeBron and say he's in his prime right now, and he's 34, I think,
33,
or almost 34. So it really depends. I think, generally speaking, around 30, it's important for athletes to really take the next step. You know, before 30, you can eat Skittles and go play 40 minutes and nothing. And then all of a sudden 30 comes like, ooh, that wasn't a good idea, you know, and the body starts to hurt a little bit more. And, I think that it's important for Kevin, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and I know they're already doing this, but it's important for them to take the big picture for the next 3, 4, 5 years and do everything possible to extend their primes, because it does take more work, as you know.
Is that it?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.
Bob will take it from here.